Here's an amazing fact to ponder. Over the last 200 years, we have lost more powerful horse breeds than currently exist on the planet. That's 75% of the world's most incredible equine genetics gone forever. From royal warhorses that shaped empires to draft giants that moved entire villages, these animals carried kings, built nations, and then vanished. Here are 25 powerful extinct horse breeds you won't believe actually existed. Kicking things off at number 25, meet the old type Finn horse. This horse was a rural legend, short, stocky, and tougher than Finnish winter. The old type Finn horse stood just 13 hands tall, but don't let that fool you. This powerhouse could pull, plow, trot, and charm all in the same day. With a spirited spark and strength that rivaled machines, it handled farms, forests, and families like a pro. But when tractors rolled in during the 1960s and 70s, this workhorse was retired en masse. From 400,000 strong in the 50s to barely 14,000 by 1987, it was a rapid disappearance no one anticipated. Some of its unique genetics traced back to the wild Przewalski horse. But while modern Finn horses still trot on racetracks and trails, the original type is extinct. But hold your hay, the next legend had an even bigger transformation. At number 24 on our list is the old type Danish warmblood. Before they dazzled in dressage, the old type Danish warmblood was a true farm hero. Strong, calm, and reliable, it hauled goods, worked fields, and carried riders without complaint. Built solid, with a gentle heart. It was Denmark's dependable all-rounder, but in the 1960s, things changed. Equestrian sports boomed, and breeders wanted taller, lighter horses with more elegance. They added thoroughbred and European sport blood to chase trophies. By the late 1960s, the old farm type was gone. It had been replaced by the modern Danish warmblood. No big rescue plan, no last stand, the old type faded away. Today, the Danish warmblood competes worldwide. But its original form, the quiet partner of farmers, is lost. Ready for a horse with Spanish roots that took on the new world? Let's ride on. Trotting in at number 23 is the Galiceno. This little horse packed more heart than most giant. The Galiceno came from Mexico, but its roots traced back to Spanish horses brought over during the conquest. Compact, agile, and full of grit, it stood just under 14 hands, making it the perfect size for mountain paths, ranch work, and even carrying kids. It was strong enough for light farm work, gentle enough for riding, and smart enough to do both with ease. However, by the late 1900s, tractors had replaced trail horses, and trucks took over the hauling. The Galiceno wasn't just overlooked, it was forgotten. By the early 21st century, it was functionally extinct. A few still existed, but not enough to sustain the breed's growth. There were no national efforts to save it. It went out slowly and disappeared silently. Don't go anywhere. A Turkish powerhouse is trotting your way next. Stepping up at number 22 is Turkey's Karakabe horse. Once a national treasure of Turkey, the Karakabe horse was bred for elegance, strength, and versatility. Created in the early 20th century by crossing local mares with Hungarian Nonius stallions, and later Arabian blood, it became a favorite for riding and light draft work. With a proud carriage and steady temperament, it was a horse that could do it all. But by the 1970s, the world had changed. Cars replaced carts, and imported horses pushed native breeds aside. In 1980, the Karakabe stud, where the breed had been developed, stopped breeding them entirely. The remaining horses were crossbred with other Turkish breeds, and just like that, the pure Karakabe vanished. No dramatic ending or sudden disaster. Just the quiet loss of a horse that once carried tradition, purpose, and pride. Today, not a single pure Karakabe horse remains. Now, let's meet a true coastal survivor. Galloping in at number 21 is the Cumberland Island horse. Along the remote coast of Georgia, a wild and resilient herd once lived. The Cumberland Island horse wasn't raised in stables or polished for show. It was shaped by centuries of survival in one of the most unforgiving coastal environments in the U.S. Descended from Spanish horses left behind long ago, these small, sturdy animals adapted to the island's marshes, saltwater winds, and scarce resources. They needed no fences and no care, just instinct and endurance. However, by the early 1900s, their isolation had become their downfall. As human activity on the island increased, the horses faced limited space, shallow gene pools, and growing interference. With no formal efforts to protect them, the population slowly collapsed. Eventually, they disappeared entirely. And speaking of quiet exits, let's learn about France's constant farmer. At number 20 on our list is the Moche horse of France. In the fields of rural France, there was a time when muscle came with hooves, not hydraulics. The Moche horse was part of that era, built for plowing, hauling, and doing the back-breaking labor that machines hadn't yet mastered. Strong, dependable, and widely used across agricultural regions, it thrived in an era when horses were the backbone of farming. But after World War II, everything changed. Tractors rolled in, and machinery took over. Like many French working horses, including the sturdy Marron, the Moche quietly slipped away. There were no protests or last stands. Just fewer births, less demand, and eventually, nothing. By the mid-20th century, the breed had vanished, and with it, a piece of rural life that once moved to the rhythm of hooves and harness. Next, a German champion who melted into modern sport bloodlines. And, hey, if you're loving this equine time travel, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a hoofbeat. Taking our 19th spot is the Hessen horse. The Hessen horse was a true German workhorse. Strong, calm, and athletic, it could pull a cart one day and carry a rider the next. Farmers, officers, and tradesmen trusted its steady nature and solid build. Originally, a heavier warm blood, the Hessen thrived in a world where horsepower meant real horses. But times changed. As tractors took over and sport horses rose in popularity, breeders shifted to lighter, flashier types. By the mid-20th century, the pure Hessen had faded away, absorbed into breeds like the Hanoverian. Its influence still shows in today's dressage and show horses, but the old Hessen itself is gone. No big extinction moment, no rescue plan, just a quiet melting into modern breeding. Its blood survives, but the true Hessen is lost to time. We're not stopping yet. Yorkshire's trade titan is waiting in the wings. Next up at number 18 is the Chapman horse. Before trains and trucks, the hills of Yorkshire echoed with the steady clop of the Chapman horse. It was a sturdy, all-purpose hauler bred for grit, not glory. It carried wool, iron ore, and trade goods, working alongside the Chapman, who were traveling salesmen who gave the breed its name. Bay in color, strong in build, and calm in temperament, the Chapman was made for long distances and hard roads, especially in rugged terrain. However, by the early 20th century, railways had taken over the job, and the horses began to fade from the roads and into memory. Crosses with thoroughbreds and Arabians created something sleeker, the Cleveland Bay. That breed thrived, but the original Chapman lost its identity and became buried under generations of refinement. No one meant to erase the Chapman, but in improving bloodlines, we lost the very horse that was the foundation. Time to swap trade roads for farm fields. Meet Germany's working-class hero. Trotting forward at number 17, the original Oldenburg horse. Before elegance entered the arena, the original Oldenburg, known as the Alt-Oldenburger, was all about strength. Built for carriage work and farm labor, this heavy German horse was calm, powerful, and reliable. Everything a working family needed in a horse. However, by the early 1900s, machines had begun to dominate the fields and roads. Demand shifted, and so did the breed. Breeders crossed thoroughbreds, trachaners, and other lighter types, creating the modern Oldenburg, a sport horse fit for jumping and dressage. Today's Oldenburgs are global stars, but the original version, the slow and steady farmhand, is gone. A few breeders in Germany tried to preserve what's left, but time had thinned the bloodline. But don't unhitch yet, a coach horse fit for royalty is rolling up. Rolling in at number 16 is the Yorkshire coach horse. If horses had luxury badges, the Yorkshire coach horse would have worn a crown. Born in the golden age of carriages, This horse was the Rolls-Royce of the road. It had the strength of the Cleveland Bay, with the speed and refinement of the thoroughbred. Tall, bay or brown with dark points, long-legged and graceful, it was bred to impress. With a long neck and commanding presence, it pulled heavy coaches through the streets of London and beyond. But the arrival of macadam roads and motor cars put the breed on a path it couldn't outrun. As the age of stagecoaches ended, so did the need for stylish horsepower. By the early 1900s, the breed had declined, and the Yorkshire Coach Horse Stud Book closed in 1936. Today, it's just a memory. Let's shift gears now, because Scotland's ultimate mountain pony is galloping in. The Scottish Galloway gallops in. At number 15, fast, tough, and built for rough ground, the Scottish Galloway was the original off-roader. Born in the rugged hills of Scotland's Galloway region, this small but mighty horse stood around 13 to 14 hands. Bright bay or brown with black legs and a spirited streak, it was sure-footed, fast, and hardy. From the 16th century on, travelers praised its speed and stamina, especially over unforgiving terrain. Some say its ancestors swam ashore from wrecked ships of the Spanish Armada, but whether or not that's true, its impact is real. The fell, highland, and even early thoroughbreds carry their blood. By the 1800s, the pure Galloway was gone, crossbred into stronger industrial-age horses, but its legacy never disappeared. It lives on in the ponies and powerhouses it helped shape, even if the original is lost to time. Italy's royal warhorse is up next, don't blink. Proudly prancing in at number 14 is the Neapolitan horse. Once the pride of Italy, this Baroque powerhouse was bred since Roman times for war, parades, and prestige. With its arched neck, bold profile, and noble presence, it carried kings into battle and dazzled crowds at royal events. For centuries, it was a true symbol of Italian glory. But after the Napoleonic Wars, everything shifted. Firearms replaced cavalry charges, and breeders chased faster, leaner horses. By the early 1900s, the pure Neapolitan had disappeared. Parts of its spirit live on in breeds like the Lipizzaner and the Napolitano, which is still bred in Italy. Some breeders hope to recreate its old magic through careful programs. Still, the original Neapolitan that ruled courts and warfields is gone. What's left is an echo, honoring a legend that once stood tall in Italy's proud history. It's time to change lanes because England's four-legged highway star is about to shine. Next in line at number 13 is the Norfolk Trotter. Long before engines roared, the Norfolk Trotter ruled the road. This four-legged speed machine had endless stamina and a smooth, ground-eating trot. Bred in East Anglia, England, it carried riders and pulled carriages across miles with style and power. Even King Henry VIII ordered stallions kept for breeding to protect this valuable horse. Fast, elegant, and tough, it was the highway cruiser of its day. But by the late 1800s, trains and motor vehicles replaced horses on the roads. The Norfolk Trotter was left behind. No rescue program stepped in. It simply merged into newer breeds. Its legacy didn't vanish. The Hackney and Standardbred still carry Norfolk blood, even across the Atlantic in American lines like Belfounder. Still, the pure Norfolk Trotter, a champion of the open road whose last mile was trotted more than a century ago, is gone forever. Still in the saddle with us? Let's cross the Atlantic for a uniquely American gait. The Narragansett Pacer comes in next at number 12. Long before America had the Mustang or the Tennessee Walker, it had the Narragansett Pacer, the very first horse breed developed in the United States. Born in Rhode Island in the 1700s, they were known for their smooth, ambling gait that felt like riding on air. Ideal for long-distance travel, this horse was a favorite among early colonists, especially for covering rough ground comfortably. But as roads improved and carriage horses took over, the Pacer's specialty became less useful. To make matters worse, breeders began crossing them with other horses, and thousands were shipped to the Caribbean, draining the bloodline from its roots. By the late 1800s, the breed had become extinct. The last known pacer died around 1880. Still, its legacy lives on in the standardbred, saddlebred, and Tennessee walking horse. The breed disappeared, but the ride it offered shaped generations of horses to come. Hey there! Keep those reins tight. A tiny Scottish powerhouse is trotting up. The tiny Galloway pony enters our list at number 11. Small but fierce, the Galloway pony once roamed the hills of Scotland and northern England. It was prized for its toughness, stamina, and no-nonsense attitude. This little horse was the kind of pony that could handle harsh weather, rocky trails, and long days without complaint. But its greatest strength and usefulness was also what led to its undoing. Everyone wanted a piece of it. The Galloway was crossed with everything from Highland ponies to Newfoundland and Fell ponies, spreading its traits far and wide. Unfortunately, in breeding stronger and more versatile horses, we lost the pure Galloway in the process. By the 1800s, it had vanished, not through neglect, but due to excessive demand. Its name faded, but its DNA still lives on in the hardy ponies of Britain. It didn't go out with a whisper, but it went out by becoming part of everything else. Next up is a workhorse from deep in Europe's dark forests. Taking the stage at number 10 is the forest horse. If you asked someone to name a famous horse breed, this one probably wouldn't make the list. But the forest horse earned its keep in ways flashier horses never had to. It was the quiet workhorse of Northern Europe, strong-backed, sturdy-legged, and perfectly built to drag logs through thick woods without making a fuss. It wasn't elegant, but it was essential. With a thick coat, calm nature, and no-nonsense build, it handled mud, cold, and uneven trails like it was born to do nothing else. Unfortunately, usefulness doesn't always guarantee survival. As modern farming and industry brought in larger, more specialized draft breeds, the forest horse slowly disappeared. By the 1800s, it was gone. The breed wasn't purposefully erased, but no one stepped in to save it either. And just like that, one of the most dependable horses to ever walk through the trees became another forgotten name. Coming up next is a medieval muscle horse who built more than barns. A medieval standard, the Old English Black Horse is number 9 on our list. Despite the name, the Old English Black Horse wasn't always black, and it wasn't just a horse. It was a force. Bay, brown, roan, even gray, this heavy horse was the muscle behind medieval England's wagons, plows, and canal barges. It likely descended from Norman warhorses and the stocky breeds brought by Dutch workers draining the fens. Over time, it evolved into something powerful, calm, and built for work rather than style. But by the late 1800s, the breed had slowly blended into others. Its strength, bone, and temperament helped form the modern Shire horse, but the Old English Black itself disappeared as a distinct breed. You can still see its ghost in today's shires, but the original bloodline is long gone. We didn't lose it overnight. We bred it out piece by piece, in pursuit of something even bigger. Stay tuned because Central Asia's crown champion is about to take the field. Standing regal at number 8 is the Turkoman horse. If horses had royalty, the Turkoman wore the crown. This ancient Central Asian breed was not only beautiful, but also remarkable. It was a warhorse, a racer, and a cultural treasure. With a metallic coat and desert-built frame, it could run for miles without tiring. Nomadic tribes trusted it with their lives. Swift, slim, and fierce, it earned respect across the region. Its blood helped create breeds like the Akal Teke and possibly even the Thoroughbred. But shifting empires changed everything. As the Ottoman Empire collapsed, breeding priorities shifted to the Arabian. Wars and industrial change took their toll. Stud farms closed, and the horses were scattered and crossbred. By the early 1900s, the true Turkoman was gone. Its spirit lives on through descendants, still fast and proud, but no longer the same. Wild hearts never die, and the next horse proves that. So get ready! Next in the lineup at number 7 is the Tarpan. The Tarpan was Europe's last true wild horse. It lived in forests and steppes from Spain to Russia. Smaller than modern horses, it was tough, stocky, and perfectly built for harsh lands. For centuries, it grazed free with no saddles or fences. Then people pushed in. Settlements took away grazing land, and hunters wanted its hide and meat. Crossbreeding blurred its wild blood. The last wild tarpan was shot in Ukraine in 1879. The last captive tarpan died in a Russian zoo in 1909. People tried to bring it back. They bred domestic horses to look like the tarpan. The heck horse and konik resemble it, but they are not true tarpans. That wild heart is gone forever. The tarpan was a symbol of freedom that could not survive guns, fences, and human progress. Don't stray, fellow horse lover, because stripes and mystery await you next. The quagga strides in at number 6. The quagga was a zebra in front, and horse at the back. Bold stripes faded into a brown coat, making it one of nature's strangest wonders. It roamed South Africa's plains with a look no other animal could match. But European settlers saw it as a pest. They hunted the quagga for meat and hides and cleared its land for livestock. The population crashed. In 1883, the last known quagga, a mare, died in Amsterdam Zoo. No true quaggas exist now. But the Quagga Project in South Africa is trying to recreate the look by breeding zebras with lighter stripes. It isn't cloning or genetic engineering, just selective breeding to copy the lost pattern. Still, the real quagga is gone forever. A victim of fences, rifles, and the endless push for more, it lives on only in pictures and memory. Next up is a Spanish beauty with a gait that turned heads across the world. Claiming our 5th position is the Spanish Genet. The Spanish Genet was a treasure of Renaissance Spain. Compact, smooth-gaited, and gentle, it was loved by nobles, soldiers, and explorers. Its soft, ambling gait made long rides feel effortless. This horse carried its riders with style and confidence, becoming a true symbol of status. Spanish settlers took it to the Americas, spreading its influence far beyond Spain. But by the late 1600s to 1700s, the Genet was blended into other local breeds. It helped create the pura raza española and many colonial gaited horses. However, its pure form faded away, lost to the passage of time. Today, the Spanish Genet Horse Society is working to revive its heritage. They breed Paso Finos with colorful coats and a natural gait. Still, no matter how close they come, the true Genet is gone. A graceful ghost from Spain's golden age that will never return. We're not done quite yet, and an Andalusian legend is coming into view. Sidling in at number 4 is the pure Carthusian. The Carthusian horse was the pride of Andalusia. Bred by Carthusian monks in Jerez, it was known for its grace, intelligence, and noble spirit. The monks guarded their bloodlines for centuries, refusing to cross them with foreign stock, even under royal pressure. But history took its toll. During the Napoleonic Wars, their monastery collapsed, and the stud farm broke apart. By the 1700s, the pure Carthusian type had disappeared, having been absorbed into the broader Andalusian breed. A breeder named Pedro Jose Zapata tried to save what was left, preserving its traits as best he could. Modern Andalusians still carry a hint of Carthusian style, but the untouched Carthusian bloodline no longer exists. War, politics, and changing times erased it. Today, breeders honor the name, but no living horse is truly what the monks once raised. The pure Carthusian survives only as a legend. Entering our top 3, Ireland's fiery war pony is up next. The Irish hobby horse takes our 3rd spot. The Irish hobby was a small, fast, and tough breed. Bred in Ireland before the 13th century, it was agile and had remarkable stamina. Medieval warriors known as hobilars relied on it for quick strikes and long rides. This hardy horse left a huge legacy. It helped create the Connemara pony, the Irish Draft, and even the Thoroughbred. Its name inspired hobby horse, capturing its quick, lively style. But by the late 1600s to early 1700s, the hobby was crossbred into bigger war horses and refined riding horses. Its pure form disappeared as breeders sought greater size and power. No true Irish hobby exists today. Only legends, old texts, and traces in other breeds survive. It was once a warhorse and a partner on Ireland's rough roads. Now, just a memory of a horse that changed history. Hold tight because an Iberian hero who conquered continents is galloping in. Proudly standing at number 2 is the Old Spanish Horse. The Old Spanish Horse was Iberia's workhorse and warhorse. Strong, compact, and agile, it carried conquistadors, explorers, and kings through Europe and the New World. Its calm, steady nature made it a trusted partner for battles, farm work, and long journeys. For centuries, it shaped legendary breeds like the Andalusian, Lusitano, and Criollo. Spanish settlers brought their bloodlines wherever they went, transforming herds across the Americas. By the 1600s, though, crossbreeding and new military demands reshaped it beyond recognition. The original type vanished, absorbed into specialized Baroque horses. Today, its legacy still lives in modern Iberian and colonial breeds, but the pure Old Spanish horse is gone. No stud books, no surviving herds. Just echoes of a horse that once built empires, crossing oceans and continents, leaving hoofprints on history that no other breed can match. And finally, in our top spot, the king of warhorses is ready to claim its crown. Crowning number 1 is the mighty Nicean. They called it the king of warhorses. The Nicean horse, bred on the Nicean plains of Persia, stood tall, strong, and swift, carrying emperors and warriors alike. Persian kings built elite cavalry around these horses, trusting their speed and stamina in battle. Greeks and Byzantines imported them, and even China's Han Dynasty sought Nicean blood to strengthen their armies. With a striking white or boldly marked coat, the Nicean was more than a tool of war. It was a symbol of power. But history moved on. As Persia's empires fell and Constantinople burned in 1204, the breed disappeared. Its bloodlines scattered, absorbed into other horses until the pure Nicean was no more. Today, no true Nicean survives. Only carvings and chronicles recall the horse that once ruled the battlefields of the ancient world. Thanks for riding through history with me. These horses may be gone, but their spirit lives on. Curious which breeds might vanish next? Watch Horses That Could Go Extinct soon, right here. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more adventures through the world of horses.